I love my listeners. Thank you so much for supporting us and joining us every Tuesday right here on RMConair.com. I started to say on live. That was our whole website, RMConair.com. So today we're here. We're here every Tuesday, 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, and we stream live. And we talk about the conversations that everybody wants more of. More productivity, more money, more relationships, more better relationships, more energy, a lot more business. So today our conversation is about uncorking the business and education of wine. And we have the who's who on our show. Every week we have the who's who of their field. And that who's in the seat. And the seat, as you know, is an acronym for speakers, executives, entrepreneurs, authors, and thought leaders. So we have a thought leader, we have an educator, we have a lady that is just breaking all kinds of records in the business of wine and words. So if you didn't look at our post, head on over to dpriceassociates.com and check out Miss Allie Merrick. But you're going to see her right here because she is in the seat. Let me tell you a little bit about Allie. Before I do, I want to make sure you can call her today. You can call her at 323-965-1600. We have a conversation about all the sipping, the tasting, educating, the snobby part of wine, and let's get educated together. So here it is. Here she is. She's self-educated by the aid of countless books, conversations with experts, and a lot of tasting. That's the best part. She tastes a lot. Allie Merrick. Get that name, Allie Merrick. She sought to establish a career in wine. Go figure. When I tell you, we have conversations about what everyone wants more of. She wants more of a career in wine. She worked in both the wholesale and the retail side of the wine industry, in addition to working independently as a private wine consultant. Now, I'm a business strategist. I'm a business coach. She's a wine coach. Yay! I tell you, it's so awesome, just to use your gifts and talents. And we talk so much about that on the show. But back to Allie, to keep herself balanced, like we all need to do in whatever we do in our business, she also works with words. So she has a platform, and it's wine and words. This is going to be so much fun because I'm looking forward to finding all about that. So Allie, her first true love is words. So when you hear her talk, you'll understand, why she loves words so much. She's so good at it. She was a poet, and ever since she could pick up a pencil, she wrote, she did a lot of speaking and performing. So, Allie has so many great qualities, so much I could read in this unending resume. It's so cool. So I just want to welcome this beautiful, brilliant, smart, entertaining lady to our show, to Diana Spicy Business Talk. Allie Merrick, it's so good to have you here. Yeah, I'm so glad to have you here. Yay.
I'm so happy to be here now with all those compliments. I'm blushing about the shade of the wine that I poured already. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. So now I know I missed a lot on your resume. The words, the wines, the poet. You did some. What did you do? Did you do a performance, The Raven? Tell me a little bit about what I missed.
So poetry in all forms. My own original works, and then also the classics. You have to respect the classics. So when I first started out with poetry, it was reciting The Raven, Oh Captain, My Captain, all these kinds of things. Go into different colleges and whatnot and present before classes. And in addition to that, then started to really become confident in my own work, and so started performing, doing a lot of open mics, these kinds of things. And
I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How did that get you to wine?
I was trying to make that correlation the other day. I have these two great loves here, and how is it that, and so basically I have this aunt, which, by the way, it's her birthday today. Happy birthday, Aunt Deb. Yes.
Happy birthday, Allie's aunt, Aunt Deb.
Yes, Aunt Deb. And so, we'd sit down at these family dinners. Every Sunday. And she'd be sitting there, the only one at the table swirling something red in her glass. Just sitting there, swirling and sipping these kinds of things. I said, what is that? And so, when I was not of age yet, I, asked if I could smell it. And she said, Yeah, go ahead. And I
Smell it?
I just wanted to
wanted
smell
to
it.
smell it.
Well, actually, I asked to taste it, but that was a no. So, well, can I smell it? And so I did. And for the first time, me, this young lover of words, I could not find the words.
Whoa.
It was such an amazing, wow, what is this? And curiosity killed the cat, perhaps, but it does nothing but fuel my creativity and makes me want to explore more.
Oh, yeah.
And so I did.
Did you, I guess you probably don't want to tell us on the air, but did you actually sneak and take a sip but without anybody knowing?
Yes. I will admit, yes. Yes, on occasion.
Well, that's how we are. Curie, you tell us you can't have something. We want that. We want that.
All things in moderation, you know?
There you go.
So.
All things in moderation. So, Allie, I want to know all about, first of all, your love of wine. You started a wine consulting business by starting your own palate. You started tasting. And, you know, I wrote a post about you. I talked about, have you ever wanted to declare your palate and let it be your imagination? So how did you start tasting and really develop that snobby appeal for wine?
Well, it's just I saw what in all things that I look at what I love about it and what I don't love about it. And what, you know, if you can't change something, you know, change the way you think about it. And I didn't like necessarily the fact that I saw so many times when, you know, people drinking wine, when in doubt, pinky out, this kind of a situation. And
Now,
I thought,
pinky
you know,
out. That's like the wrong thing to do.
right? You know, when you've got your wine and it's, you know, you see this little, you know, kind of
You
thing.
see the little pinky.
Yes. Now, I use the pinky as a stabilizer. I actually put it under my glass this way, and so I use it in a different way. But for me, I thought, well, I just kind of took my own lead. And so when I remember the first time I had a glass of Bordeaux, French wine, and put it to my nose, and the first thing I thought, grandmother's suitcase. You know, like this old leather sort of interesting, but it was the first thing I thought of, and I had an instant connection there, and I thought, well, what if everyone could define things in their own words, specifically wine? The problem, I feel, not just in wine, but in all things, is that if we are not an expert in something, we feel like we're not entitled to an original opinion. And I disagree with that. I think it's dangerous. So I use wine as my medium to give people permission to have an opinion, and one that's valid and matters and should be respected.
It should be respected because everyone is different. You know, we were talking earlier, we can all be from the same family, but we all have such different presentations.
Yes,
so
absolutely, and that should be embraced and accepted. The correlation I always make is in terms of people say, well, is that a good wine? I say, well, you know, let me just tell you a little something. When you're going to ask me that question, I'm going to share this story, and it's my husband, Peter, loves Salvador Dali.
Dali.
Yeah, loves that artist. Me, I'm more of a Mark Rothko, so I like a little more abstract, more just colors and shades.
I like colors too.
Yeah, you know? And so it's like we'll have these different opinions, and I remember looking at this piece by Rothko. I'm sitting there nearly in tears, and he comes in, and he says, I don't get it. It's two colors. I say, oh. Clearly, we have different values, and we value different things different ways. And the same is true with wine. Wine and art are both subjective. They do have objective qualities that we should honor and respect, but we have to allow ourselves to have opinions that matter to us personally.
You know, that makes so much sense. And then when you're talking about the personality of each person and how we bring something different to the table and how we all can be really different in terms of our presentation and how we're out there. What about, and this is a little bit of a sidestep, because one of my friends said to me, she says, you know what, how do I say this? I love wine, but I can't do it anymore because I think she's what do you call it, a survivor in Alcoholics Anonymous survivor.
Okay.
So when you said anything in moderation, you know, it made me think, oh my God, what a shame, because wine is so awesome, but you can abuse anything.
Oh, for
and
sure.
And when you do, it can be very hurtful. It can be very hurtful to your body, to your image. It could be very hurtful in a lot of things.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, and I would say, again, I mean, it just goes back to that all things in moderation. And above all things, respect.
Yeah.
It's like you have to respect yourself, respect this wine.
Right.
I would never slam any of these wines that I brought here today because I respect the love and the care
Right.
and the work and the energy that went in to make this.
Right.
And so for me to consume this responsibly
Yeah.
and respectfully,
Right.
there's a particular way to do that. And it does
Right.
not require the pinky out. It requires more.
I like that, Allie. I like that. That's very cool. Doesn't require the pinky out.
And indeed, yeah. Keep your pinky. Put your pinky where you want it. It doesn't have to be out. So.
Well, tell us how we can. What's the background in the sipping, the pouring, and after we find out just the little basics, and I call them basics because a lot of us, and I put myself in that to a large degree, although I do read and I keep up and I go, okay, I know how to, you're supposed to do a couple different things. So what are the steps? What is the process that you take to start your wine taste? You're at a restaurant, you've ordered a bottle of wine. Well, before the restaurant, before you get to before you've ordered, do you have the waiter help you? You have questions about the wine. What are the questions that you want to ask if you are looking to pair something with a fish or a chicken or whatever? Just say you want a red wine. What are the questions if you don't know the properties or the qualities of the wine that you're going to order?
Sure.
What do you ask before you get it? What do you ask?
You just think, before you ask, you think about to yourself what sort of a mood you're in. What kind of, do I want a wine that's really heavy? Do I want a wine that's really light?
Okay.
So you figure out what kind of experience you want to have with that wine if you're just focused on the wine. Now, if you want to work in the inverse and you have a particular dish that you're going to order, I mean, sometimes you just really, really want oysters and you're like, I'm getting oysters, but you don't necessarily know what wine to pair with it.
Yeah.
Then ask. That is
ask.
Do not be afraid. If you're not an expert, don't pretend to be.
Yeah.
It's very
There you
simple.
go.
And so to trust your server, just to say, okay, well, this is kind of what I'm going to order, or this is the kind of wine that I want. What would you recommend? They know their list better than you do, most likely.
So. Now let's mesh your career with wine and words with that same example.
Sure.
How would wine and words, from your standpoint, how would that work in that situation?
It would work something like, well, before I go into that, can I just give you I know it's not Sunday, but I feel like I need to confess.
Okay. I like confessions.
Yeah.
Please
So
confess.
my confession, if I were to make one, would be when I'm no longer here.
I like that.
You're going to love this. When I'm no longer here and I'm called to appear up on high in that last judgment day, and our Maker begins to examine my sins, I can truthfully then only say, I do not, I'll exclaim, now remember the name of the girl of the village that may. I but dimly recall the encounter at all. But the wine was a fine Cabernet. All the times that I strayed, all the errors I made while I wondered which way I should go, of those toilsome travails, I forget the details, but the wine was a fine Merlot, and my deeds on that date, when sad to relate, I succumbed to unworthy desire. As you might well expect, I cannot recollect, but the wine was a fine Pinot Noir.
Oh,
How I'd hunt
I love this.
How I'd hunt high and low for the special Bordeaux. I'd pursue every new Beaujolais, and I'd spend money, Lord, I could then ill afford, when the wine was a fine Chardonnay. So, I humbly report all my sins to this court, and I pray for your pardon divine. And as you add at my score, I can ask nothing more than to help turn the water to wine. So that is how. That is how the wine in the words.
Did you get everybody to clap? Let's get everybody to clap.
We need a clap track. So it's and so that poem I love, well, because it's words and it's wine. So that is sort of the epitome of who and what I am professionally.
That was
and
really
thank you.
Very impressive.
Thank you. What I love about that piece is they're talking about, well, yeah, I can't remember that, but I do remember that bottle.
Yes.
I remember something here, but so they use wine as a way to sort of embody and preserve those memories and those experiences. And so it's very special that way. Wine is not like any other beverage.
Yeah.
It's very unique. It has a vintage date. It's born a particular date, just as we are. It comes from a place, just as we do. We have lineage, as do these wines. And there will come a day when it's no longer here, either by consumption or, it's a living, breathing product. I mean, oxygen will. Let's sidebar. Talk about things that are not good for your wine.
Okay.
Because
Sidebar.
we're talking about killing the wine. Let me just tell you 3 things.
Okay, before we talk about that,
Sure.
let's come back in just a moment after this break, and we're going to talk about sidebar. You're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio with Allie Merrick. We are talking about uncorking the business and the education of wine, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Are you a diabetic? Need some energy? Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink is the healthiest, best-tasting energy drink around. For more information and online ordering with free shipping, please visit hiphopbev.com. Remember, Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, suitable for diabetics, great for everyone.
Welcome back. This is Diana Price, and I am having so much fun at this 12 noon Pacific time lunch hour on RMConair.com. We talk about these conversations, and today it's a wine conversation. It's educating, it's sipping, it's savoring. Oh, it's so much fun. So now we're going to take a little sidebar with Allie. We're going to take a sidebar because we want to know what you don't want to do with your wines.
Yes. People often say, what do I do with it? Let me just talk about what you don't do with it. So oftentimes people go out and they'll buy these wines they're really in love with, and they don't take care of them properly. And so when they go to open and to celebrate and to show off their pieces, perhaps, it's not good. So
it's embarrassing. When you open it, it's like, ooh, what is this?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So let me just prevent that for everyone. And so a couple of things. What kills wine? Air. So oxygen will break down a wine. It has a particular level of acid that preserves it. And now which is why they used corks, and the bottles are generally on their side this way.
Yes.
And so the wine will then keep that cork moist, right? And so it prevents the cork from breaking down and oxygen to get in. So if you ever wondered, why are they laying on their side? That's part of the reason.
So it can prevent the air from getting in.
So how you're storing it that way. Temperature also has something to do with it, because if it gets too hot, heat kills wine. So do not put your wine in a very warm place. What also kills wine is light.
Really?
So yes. So if you have this prized trophy bottle of wine and you have it sitting under all these lights, like look at it, I'm celebrating this wine.
Be in the spotlight.
It's like, don't do that. Don't kill your wine.
Mine are all in my basement in these little things, bottles, the little kind of things all down. There's kind of a wine cellar, but it's really not.
As long as it's cool and sort of moist, then that's
really cool.
That's ideal.
There.
That's ideal. It's perfect, for sure.
So we don't want to kill them like that. We get these wonderful wines that are like, oh my! I have a favorite that I'm not going to tell you about right now because you'll probably go. No. But now that I know, and we know what to do and what not to do with wine. All right, we open up our bottle like we have right here, and then before we sip the bottle, wait. Before we sip the bottle, is there any other don't do's that we need to know about? Any other don't do's?
No. I mean, those are the three major things.
Okay.
You know, the light and the heat, and then the moisture of it. And you don't want to be moving it around all the time. So it just needs to be still and quiet and cool.
Oh, I do have one more question about the don't do's. Now, Once you open it, say you don't finish your bottle of wine.
Yes.
How long can you keep it out? Because all those other things you just said become factors.
Right,
How
because
long
now oxygen has touched it, right? And so that will, start a series of events that leads to the breakdown of the wine. So it depends.
Okay.
It depends on the wine. I've had some wines that the next day I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh,
I've had some
yeah,
wines
no.
within the same hour. I'm just like, yeah, no.
Really?
When you get into older wines, because they break down really quickly, because they've been working really hard, really long time to stay where they need to be, and if they get to a particular age where they can go really quick. Anyway, but some wines can go several days.
Wow.
Here's a good rule of thumb for that, is that if you don't finish your wine, they do have this gas. You can buy argon gas. You can pump in there.
Those are cool. I've seen those.
Yep. So they have where
several
you can,
of those.
You can gas it, that way, or you can there's a pump you can put on it and just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the inverse of a bike pump, right? And so you do that, and then you can cap it. Or you can just put the cork back in and put it in the refrigerator.
Okay.
Whether it is
In the
white
refrigerator?
or red.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. True story. Whether it's white or red, stick it in the fridge because that
After
will
it's been
help.
opened.
Yeah, after it's. And then when you're ready to drink your lovely red wine, take it out, let it come to room temperature,
okay.
and then drink it.
Got
When
it.
we're talking about temperatures with wine, here's another thing that people just do, and I'm just like, please don't do that, is they chill it and kill it, is pretty much the way I describe it. And that, so white wines, people say, oh, well, it's supposed to be chilled. Well, yes, of course it is. But sometimes it's too cold.
Yeah.
And if it's too cold, you can't smell everything that you could. You're only
You're
smelling
right.
like a fraction of
You're
it.
right.
You can't taste it that way.
So if I want to taste this, what do I have to go through? There's a caller on the phone? Okay. We're going to talk to the caller.
All right, and then we'll drink. And then we'll get to the good stuff.
Then we're going to talk about
I'm
drinking.
thirsty, so I hope this call is
I'm
fast.
thirsty.
Yeah.
No.
Just kidding.
Hi, caller. This is Diana, and you're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio. Thank you. Who's on the line?
Hello.
Hi. Who's on the call?
Hi,
What's your name?
this is Carrie Martin ringing in.
Hi.
Hello, Carrie.
Hey, Allie.
Do you have
This is Carrie Martin, and Allie needs to sip wine, so I'm going to make this really quick. Carrie,
What question do you have for Allie or Diana?
my question is this. I mean, obviously you can't tell when you buy wine at a grocery store if it's corked, but I brought a bottle of wine from Italy, a Pinot Gris. Does Allie find that wines that are from Italy, where the sanitary practices aren't up to par with the States, are more likely to be corked?
Well, I've found good and bad bottles everywhere. It's sort of like, the whole bad apple rule. You can't judge one wine, I guess that's kind of a hard, certainly if they have, if it's more of a small production in an area where the practices are more traditional, sometimes there is more of a risk, as opposed to some of these very manufacturer-oriented facilities where everything is very, very particular and very stringent with their processes. So, but I would not say beware of buying Italian wine because it might be corked. I would not say that whatsoever. I've had nothing but amazing experiences with most of the bottles. But I've had bad bottles from everywhere, and I've had amazing bottles from everywhere. So it's really hard to make a blanket statement that way.
Well, I agree with you in that, if you're going to buy an Italian wine, you want to get it from a reputable, dealer. But this particular wine that I bought was from the Trelato Wine Group, and they import a Pinot Gris from Italy. And you would think, given their reputation, that they would have top-notch sanitary practices. But I bought this wine to sip while I was watching today, and only to find after spending $25 that it was corked.
Oh, Carrie, I am so sad
Oh, my
about that. We will
God.
have to, you know what, I will grab a bottle of something fun and send it to you just because I feel bad for you. You should not have bad sipping
Well,
experiences.
unfortunately, it was my only wine that I had chilled, so I had to pour myself a gin and tonic. But I seem to be getting along okay.
Indeed. Well, and that's all we can do is, the best that we can do with what we. Well, and here's the thing too. It's just in terms of when you're getting a bad bottle of wine. Peter and I have had bad bottles of wine that we bought and we knew when we got it from the tasting room or from the retailer that, hey, it tasted good then. What's the problem now? And there's so many things, whether it was an off bottle to begin with, like right from its start, or that something happened along the way. Something was shipping or it was, sitting too long on a shelf. I mean, again, with the heat, there's so many things that can damage a wine. Like us, wine is delicate.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Carrie, did that wine have a rating at all?
It's actually really highly rated wine. It's one of those top Pinot Grigio sellers. But I guess the question is, when you buy a wine from the grocery store and you pay $25 and you throw away the receipt, can you take the wine back to said grocery store and say, smell the cork, taste the wine?
Oh, yeah.
I want to trade it out,
Yeah, and sometimes, Carrie, honestly, sometimes that you can do that very thing, whether you're in a restaurant or a retailer. It just depends. There's not a hard, fast rule about that in the industry. Generally, I mean, find the retailers and the restaurants that you trust and that you have relationships with, and I imagine most times they would be hospitable and would be understanding, would try to make things right for you.
Okay, well, I'm going to pop over to Ralph's and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you just ask
After
for
the show's over, of course.
Make sure you ask for the manager. I'm sure they will be very, very accommodating.
Usually they are,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks so much for taking my call.
Thank
I
you
appreciate
so
your advice.
much for calling. And
Thank you, Carrie.
Please tune in again. Thank
Sure.
you for the call. Take care.
Will do.
Have a
Take
great
care.
rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, so now that we know that we can get bad wines everywhere and, you know, you can pay $25, $35. I went to, I don't know, I think it was at one of the great hotels, and I saw a bottle of wine for several $1,000s.
Yes.
Several $1,000s.
Oh, yes.
I can't even remember how many zeros were behind it. I'm going, someone is paying that much for a bottle of wine?
Yes, and they can be very, very expensive. That said, there's a lot of wines that are really, really good and that are a fraction of the price.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
now
Yes.
more than ever, you're finding a lot of wines that are very affordable and very good. So it really, again, it just
Right.
depends on your palate and what you're
Right.
looking for.
Speaking of palate, now, how do
Yes.
I do this?
That's right, we're thirsty, darn
We're
it.
thirsty. Okay, so the first thing I do, she's going to tell me the process because you can't just drink a bottle of wine,
Oh,
a
heavens,
glass of
no.
wine. You just have
Yes.
to savor it, sip it.
That's right. We'll go through one thing at a time. So
thing at
first
a
of all,
time.
let's. This is a sensory experience. So let's use our senses,
Okay.
right? So we're going to look at this wine. What are we looking for? Well, maybe you're not looking for anything. You just want to say this is really pretty, or maybe you're trying to figure out the story of this wine. I always like to pretend like I'm this wine investigator and trying to understand the story that it is. And so this color being sort of darker, and sometimes the color of the wine can tell us about its age. It can tell us about the varietal that it is. This with this sort of ruby tint to it. This is a Pinot Noir. And Cabernets tend to be a little richer in hue, so there's this whole spectrum of shades. And so as you taste, just take note of that,
Okay.
so you can get
And
to
what
know it that
about the
way.
legs?
Yes, well, who doesn't love a great set of legs, right? And so the
I'm
industry,
seeing the legs.
the industry more and more has gotten away from using the legs of a wine as sort of this defining character about it. So when you hear someone talk about the legs, they're talking about the streaks that happen in your glass as the wine falls back into
Right.
it. And so that can sometimes speak to the sugar level. Imagine something like syrup is very, very, very rich, right? And so it streaks and it goes slowly down the glass. So think about that sugar content. So we have a wine that has a lot of sugar to it. Oftentimes it's going to take a lot longer, lot richer, longer legs to it. So that can sometimes speak to
Okay.
the sugar level that way.
Now I know that I have a beautiful color, and I do have some legs. I do see my legs. I do have legs.
Yep.
And do I need to smell it?
Yes. Now this is my very favorite part. I think everyone has a favorite part of wine tasting.
Yes.
Mine is always smelling it. So when you lift it to your nose, And I usually take a few different. So the swirling though. The swirling is important before. Okay, I'm getting things out of order. Yes. So swirl.
The swirl.
So why the heck do we swirl the wine?
Why do we swirl the wine?
We do it to aerate it. So we want to get oxygen. Remember how I said oxygen can kill the wine? Well, but we do want to break down that acid. So in doing that, when you swirl the wine, you're introducing oxygen to it, and so it can break down and work on that acid a bit and help that wine to open up a bit.
How long do we swirl it?
As long as you want, until your wrist gets tired. However long you like. It's just enough to sort of, open it up. So give it a swirl a bit. And then when you lift it to your nose, my advice is always close your eyes and remember. Far too often we know much more about wine than we realize. So when we can just close our eyes and remember, this is the first thing that comes to your mind, and that's what it is for you. That's how you can create a bond and a relationship with the wine that is an experience.
And now are we ready to drink?
I sure am. I'm thirsty. For heaven's sakes, it's past noon. Yes. So cheers.
Cheers.
So you take just a little bit of a sip. I usually don't like to make an opinion about the wine until I've had 2 or 3 sips.
Okay.
Because I'm letting my palate get to know this, and if I had something else that I was eating before, then that could interfere with what this is truly meant to taste like.
So you take 1 sip. Do you leave it in your mouth and your palate for a few seconds before you?
Yep. So a good way to do it is to swirl it around a bit. So it touches, because you've got all these different senses.
All the different areas.
Yes, all the different taste buds. There's different sections that taste different things and pick up on different nuances. So when you swirl it around and just back and forth and back and forth.
I was doing that.
Now here's the other thing that I do, and this has become a terrible habit because I do it to everything, not just wine. But so watch very carefully and you'll see what I mean. So this will be a.
Oh, is that kind of a slurp?
It is. So again, we're just introducing more air to it. But if you try it, you'll see that the wine becomes more, that flavor that you're picking up on your palate does become more intense.
I can't do it, Allie.
It requires some practice. Feel free to practice at home.
I will.
I'll send you home with a few bottles you can work on. And, practice makes perfect. And
practice makes perfect?
Yes. And just how they say that, getting back to perfection, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder.
Yeah.
Perfection, when it comes to wine, is on the palate of the taster.
Oh, yeah.
So don't let someone else.
This wine is awesome. Now I want you to describe what we just had.
Okay, so let me tell you a very special story. This wine is called Gypsy Dancer.
Gypsy Dancer.
And I look at their corks here. It says, "Life is a dance."
Oh, this is fabulous.
Yes. And
life is a dance.
It is indeed. And so it's a dance that happens in a bottle.
Dance.
That dances across your palate with nuances that are indicative to the Willamette Valley, the Pinot Noir that's grown there. So Oregon.
In Oregon.
Yes, in Oregon.
Oh,
so
got some competition.
The Willamette Valley is become world renowned for its Pinot Noir. And so it's every place does something really, really well. Every place has a possibility to create something amazing. It just so happens that the grape varietal that works really well and that thrives and that exudes beautiful, beautiful characteristics is Pinot Noir. And so every year they have the International Pinot Noir Celebration, IPNC. IPNC.
Do you go?
I have gone a few times in the past.
Well, why would I ask a wine consultant connoisseur if you go to that?
And it's amazing. So you have people from all over the world, winemakers from all over the world who come to celebrate Pinot Noir for this period of time.
So this is one of the best. This is an awesome Pinot Noir. This is a very, how would you describe that? Because for me, like you said, everybody's different. But for me, that just was very smooth going down my palate. It just made me feel relaxed. It made me feel that I wasn't really drinking wine, that I was just savoring. I was just really enjoying, sitting here talking to a friend. And it was more about, how much I enjoyed. When it went down my palate, I was like, "Oh, Allie, this is it's hard to describe because it's so smooth.
It is, and it's
so.
I love that you're
smooth.
saying this. That you say I'm having a hard time describing
Yes.
it. And some of my favorite wine experiences have been specifically that where I
way.
can't find the words. It's just like my favorite word. Me being a word
What's
nerd.
your favorite word?
Ineffable.
Ineffable.
It's called ineffable. And the definition is this: it means that which cannot be described by words.
I
So
love
don't you think
that.
it's weird though that my favorite word
is
can't
a
be
word that
yeah.
can be described by words.
Yes, so ineffable. And but you say it felt like you were sitting here talking to a dear
Yes,
friend, and a
yes.
dear friend is actually the winemaker of this. Rebecca Schuldis, she is my sister from another mister.
Oh,
She and I are
cool.
actually headed across the country in a tasting tour starting next week.
That's fabulous.
And so Pinot Noir, let me define reds, just a few of
Okay.
them. Let me make by comparison.
By comparison,
Let's,
that's where we're going to pick up.
Yeah.
As soon as we come back from our short break, she's going to define reds and she's going to compare. Allie Merrick, if you are missing this, you are missing a fabulous, fabulous comparison of your palate. We'll be right back. You're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Charles Bray. I'm president of Sullivan International. We're a management consulting firm. If you're calling on large corporate accounts and you'd like some help effectively penetrating an account, give us a call or look us up at sullivaninternational.com. Again, our website, sullivaninternational.com. Today, I was a guest speaker at Diana Price & Associates on her radio program. Diana is an incredible hostess. One of the things I love about her when it comes to PR or leadership development or training, she's excellent. I would highly recommend that you take advantage of her services. Again, we were on Spicy Business Talk Radio with Diana Price & Associates. Her website, dianapriceandassociates.com. If you're looking for leadership development, training, PR, coaching, give Diana a call.
Hi, welcome back. You know, this is pretty cool, having lunch with a great, great friend, Allie Merrick, and her wines, the things that she comes up with, wine and words, I mean, it's magical. It's really magical. So we were just talking at break about comparing wines, especially reds. I'm in love with reds. There's one point in my life that I was completely in love with whites, and I didn't touch a red.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like my tables have completely turned. My palate has completely changed.
And that's pretty normal, and that your palate will continue to evolve. And you're probably going to get like me one day where all of a sudden you go back to whites. Huh? It does happen. So it's a evolution. Wine evolves, as do our palates, as do we as people. And so it really comes back to that whole conversation we're having about translation. So I am a wine what? Translator is probably the best way I've been able to really define what I do.
Okay.
With wine, whether it's with wine, whether it's with words, it's all about translating. So I've never been really good at math, but I do understand to make fractions work, you have to have common denominators to work with, right? So the same with wine. Okay, let's find some common ground. Let's make some comparisons so that we can be speaking the same language to be able to understand and define. So let's take women. Okay?
Women in wine.
Now it's even getting spicier.
Yes, let's get spicy women in wine.
All right, so the spice goes like this. So wine, red wine in the form of women. Think about Cabernet.
Okay.
Okay, Cabernet is going to be that woman who is a very serious professional, who's working downtown, who is all buttoned up, very strong, assertive personality, who's got her
I can
hair
see that.
up high in a really tight bun. Like she's like super crazy heels on, business. She rocks out the meetings.
Wow.
And she, So because Cabernet is like that, it's got that very serious, very assertive
Strict.
nature. Yes. Crazy backbone going on, very good posture.
Yeah.
Now we talk about Merlot. So Merlot tends to be a little more genteel. Think of it as miscongeniality, and that it's while it still has good substance and really good character, that it is more inviting. It's more easygoing. It's not as angular in style. That's how I've made the comparison, and then we'll get to Pinot Noir, which is the most...
Another red.
Yes,
This
another
is all
red.
varieties of red.
And of all varieties of
all
red.
different stages.
Two kinds of wine, white and red. So, Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
The most elegant, woman you've ever seen, the most sexy, the most feminine. This, to me, is Audrey Hepburn in a glass.
Okay. This Pinot Noir is Audrey Hepburn in a glass. So that means I love that comparison because you've gone from a strict woman who's very well put together to more playful, kind of a middle type playful with the Merlot. And now Pinot Noir is just the epitome of elegance.
I think you can very much just make a comparison about wine based on posture. Cabernet, Merlot.
Oh, Cabernet, Merlot.
And then you have Pinot Noir.
Oh, I see. Then you have Pinot Noir.
That's right. That's right.
I love that. Let's do that again. Cabernet.
Cabernet. Yep. Merlot. Pinot Noir. I'm going to use that. That's a pretty darn good, I have to say.
Yeah, we did that together. That was very cool. So those are the three faces of wine as we compare them with women.
Yeah, those are just a few different examples of reds that are commonly known.
Very cool. So I want to get back to Allie now. You have all this amazing knowledge. You really have shared just the whole process of, the background of wines, how you taste it, how it's very individual. Your process, what's the alleyway? Tell me about the alleyway with your connoisseur, your consultant. How do you get the message out about your wines to potential clients?
Sure. Well, and I guess the first thing is to define what I am and what I'm not.
Okay.
Because my husband Peter has been in the industry twice as long as I have, 20-some years. And he has forgot more about wine. He has forgotten more about wine than I will ever know.
Are you kidding me?
He's amazing. And so where he is more of the wine expert, I'm more of the wine enthusiast. So I, am the translator. So building the bridges between consumers and the creators of the wine.
Well, speaking of consumers, we have a caller that is interested in something about what we're talking about.
All right.
Hi, this is Diana. Thank you for calling Diana Spicy Business Talk Radio. Who do we have on the line today?
I am jealous.
He said he's jealous.
Jealous.
Who is this?
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
so glad you're jealous, but I'm so glad you called too.
This is Jealous JR calling. Okay?
Jealous JR.
Awesome.
JR is the most awesome person in the whole world, period. Hi, JR. He said he's jealous. He didn't even have a question. I'm jealous.
That's right.
Well, JR, we're having a great time with the business of uncorking wine and education. Too bad you aren't here. But JR, meet Allie. What questions do you have for Allie in the wine business? Uh-oh, I think we lost him. JR? Oh, no, we lost JR.
Come back to us.
Is JR still there?
Maybe he was thirsty too and needed to take a break.
maybe he needed. Is he back? I think we just lost him.
Oh, well, he'll come back.
Well, when he comes back, we'll get right back to him.
All right, fantastic.
Okay. So let's keep going about the alleyway.
So I have mywinewords.com. That is
mywinewords.com.
Yes, mywinewords.com. That is my wine platform.
I'm going to have another sip while you're talking.
You just go ahead and sip, and I'll just speak. Sipping and speaking, it kind of goes together. And so My Wine Words being that platform where it's talking about wine in my own words and encouraging people to do the same, to empower consumers that way.
Got it.
So I am the voice for brands.
Cheers, Beth. You're the voice for brands?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We want to hear more about this. Hey, JR, we missed you. I think we somehow we lost you, but welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Yes. Do you have a question?
Hello. Nice to talk to you.
It's a pleasure. I did actually have a question. One, how do I get so Merlot as you both are right now? Okay.
Oh, do you get Merlot?
I want to get Merlot. I mean, mellow Merlot right now. I've been all on the phone all day, and then I hear about you guys are drinking on the job. I love it.
Hey, why do you think I picked this industry? I mean, I have permission.
You have permission. You have permission.
To pour and to speak. How could you not love it?
I love it.
That's why I'm so jealous. So, okay, so I'm pretty adept at going to wine tastings and doing different things. But I'm wondering, what would you give an advice to us guys out there, okay, who are not as sophisticated with the wines? How would you advise us on starting our own collection, even if it's just a bottle? Because oftentimes I go into the store, I see a whole bunch of stuff on sale, and I'm just alone. It's too much choice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
So
think,
common.
yeah, no, and that's a great question. It's like, where do I start? I'm new at all of this. I have found that going to restaurants, to wine bars, to be able to taste different things before making a solid purchase has been helpful, has been a good way to start out. I would say, again, with so many good wines that are affordable out there, go ahead and give yourself an allowance every week and say, okay, I'm going to taste this, I'm going to taste this, and try to taste different things. Too often we say, ooh, I like that. It's like this one restaurant I go to, I found one thing I like, I've never ordered anything else there in like 5 years. I get the same thing. But so I encourage people to, when you're just starting out, to try different things, because you think, oh, I love this, but you may really love something else. So to go ahead and just experiment a bit, I encourage that. And then also, to speak with if you can find a retailer that you really trust, to go ahead and just tell them, this is the wine that I'm looking to get. This is the experience I want to have with wine. I like this about wine. I don't like that about wine. And instead of let your conscience be your guide, let your connoisseur be your guide. And let them go ahead and make a couple suggestions. And hey, if they're spot on, then go back. And so to start out that way, and then yeah.
Okay.
Is there also like a store? Because I really feel, JR, his question. You go to the store and you see all these different wines, and this one's on sale, and that one, oh my God, and I've heard about that name, and but is there like a website or something that they could go look at the names and maybe the ratings? Because some stores have bottles of wine. Oh, this is rated 91. This is 98. This is 92. This is 87.
Right. And so that's a very good point. So here's my two sort of rules. Okay. Never, just like you would never judge a book by its cover, never judge a wine by its label. There's a lot of wine that say, oh, that's a really cool looking label. And, but that says nothing about what the wine really is. So be careful about that. So don't get sucked into that. In terms of points, I think points can be a very valuable tool, but be careful, because here, let me give you, for example, say you find a wine that's rated 99 points. Oh my gosh, it's 99 points. I'm going to get it because I'm going to love it. It's 99 points. But let's say, just like we all have different tastes in art, we all have different tastes in wine. So maybe that person who rated that wine loved these particular qualities about it, and even though they're coming at it from an objective angle, everyone's going to be biased because there are own individual personal palates. So be very careful about the points thing, and don't get too sucked into all of that. I really encourage, on my wine words, Peter and I, when we talk about wines, we never rate a wine, we only describe a wine. So what I would do is definitely, JR, when you're looking at any of these shelf talkers and whatnot that are telling you about, hints of cedar and bits of cocoa and all these kinds of things, pay attention to those more than the points. I think those qualities, when you're really trying to understand, what these flavor profiles are, make sure that it matches your palate.
So cool.
Because it gets crazy when you go there and then you see things like tannins of oak and flavonoids of this, and
you're so right, JR.
You just get kind of confused. I'm like, is this a health drink or is this just wine I'm supposed to enjoy?
Right.
JR, we have to applaud you for asking that question, because guys, I don't know. It's just great that you're trying to really learn, because all of us really want to know more about wines, because when we go out, who normally does the ordering? A guy or a girl? The guys?
Right.
Do the guys?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so here's I'm going to give you some great advice, JR. You're going to get big points with this one, okay? So when you're going out with the lady.
I got my notepad.
Okay, you better write fast because I'm going to talk fast. Okay, so basically this is the way it goes. So you go to this restaurant and you say, oh gosh, and you're getting all nervous. I don't know what to order from the list. I don't know. The way to, why don't you start out this way? You're going to score big points by first and foremost asking the person that you're with, so what kind of wine are you interested in having? Number one, you've took all of the pressure off of yourself. You said, what do you make it about that other person. Yes, you make it about them. Say, what are you in the mood for? Oh, well, I don't know. What do you like? Well, there's a few different things that I enjoy. And be very honest. If there's something specific that you like, then go ahead and do that. But then finding that right selection. Well, now what? Okay, so she said, oh, I'm really in the mood for something from Bordeaux or something from Burgundy or something. You're like,
and then you get stomped.
So what you do, this is where, here's another little lifesaver bit for you, is that you call over your server and say, hey, you certainly know your list more than I do. This is what we're interested in having today. What might you recommend from your list here? We'd like something that's this, and you tell the qualities that she's looking for. And so here, not only are you putting her first in her palette and her needs and her wants, but then you're going and making sure that those wants are best filled by someone who knows what the list has to offer.
Perfect.
Love it.
You don't know. You don't need to know.
Love it.
You don't need to know anything about wine.
There you go. You gave him a process to follow, a system that's going to work every time.
That's right. Go get him, JR.
That is so cool. JR, thank you so much for calling today. I really appreciate you calling and interacting with we're all learning about how to be wine snobs. So now you know how to be a wine snob, or you know more about how to be a wine snob, JR.
Exactly. I really appreciate it. You just don't know how profoundly you go.
Oh, well, we enjoy you. Thank you for that.
Thanks,
was awesome.
JR. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That's so cool.
Oh, I heart him. That was fun.
Yeah, guys are really into, so a lot of guys are into wine, but some guys are not. So this is good training, because you don't have to be an expert, which is what you're saying.
And that's just it. I think whether we're talking about something personal or like in our business, if we're taking a client out and we don't know what to do here, that you need to give permission to not only other people but to yourself to have an opinion.
Speaking of clients and wines and taking out and drinking, what's going on with that?
Right.
It used to be, especially in the corporate platform, you go out for lunch with clients, you don't drink. Has that changed? Is it different in small business, on being an entrepreneur, getting business in corporate America versus, what's that all about now? Drinking with business drinking.
Yeah, so business drinking, yes. Booze and business. Yes. So I always call wine, it's like social lubricants, like it just sort of greases the wheels. It helps just people to feel more comfortable. If you have something in your hand, people tend to feel more comfortable. They have something else to do.
Yes.
They and it provides, all of a sudden now we have something to talk about.
Oh, yes.
Because now we both have this glass of Pinot Noir.
Right.
Well, what do you think about this? Well, what do you, so it's a good conversation piece. In addition, beside the medicinal qualities, that it does physiologically, it makes you more open and more, more relaxed.
I agree with that.
More relaxed.
I agree with that. Does it change the structure? Does it help them in a business relationship by having that? Does it provide you with an image that you may or may not want to carry with you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Just because I've dealt with both ends of the spectrum, right? So it's like clients, I would say, if we're going to be meeting, especially for the first time personally, and I have some clients who work with me because of wine, and some clients that work with me on the lifestyle platform where it's just brands and it's across the spectrum. So we're going to be having a meeting, and I'm asked, well, where would you like to meet? What would you like to do? And so I always say, well, would you like to meet up for coffee, or would you like to get together for a glass of wine? I put it in their court, and they dictate. So it's all about finding out their needs and then being able to create a game plan after that. So using wine or not, depending.
So what's the other platform? You were talking about brand platform, Allie's
Yeah.
Word? What's your other platform? What
Yeah,
other-
so again, on this other side of things, there's the wine and then there's the words and the combination of the two.
Yeah.
So when it's not my wine words, it's the Alleyway.
The Alleyway.
Yeah, it's called thealleyway.org. Since my name is Allie, I thought I'd be rather clever, or not.
Very clever.
But anyway, so basically it's a lifestyle platform. And what the heck does that mean? It means that I have a life in a particular style that I live it in. And so I think they call them hollers, like holla.
Uh-huh. I
So
get that.
yeah, so basically being a brand ambassador, so giving an original, authentic opinion about an experience, about a product. On my website, I say rated O for original and organic.
I love
And so the content that I make.
Original or organic, rated O. Go,
I mean,
Allie.
let me just tell you, this is the reason that you and I are going to work together because I will only, and this is my personal thing, I will only do business with someone who I would sit down and enjoy a glass of wine with. If we can't drink
There you
together, we
go.
can't work together.
There you
That's
go.
me because
I love that.
business pleasure, it's one because
It
I work
is.
24/7.
We work so hard for everything that we do.
Yes, we do.
I mean, and to me, it's just a matter of, like you said, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Is just fine.
Right.
It's when you go overboard where
Exactly.
you have problems. But I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
We work so hard. So why can't we enjoy ourselves?
We should enjoy ourselves, especially at, it's not one yet.
It's not even
it's
1
fine.
o'clock in the afternoon. So.
And it comes down to this, I will say, and that at the end of the day, you need to be satisfied.
Yes.
It's your palate. It's your profession.
Yes.
And if I can facilitate to help people sort of translate
Right.
that, whether being a voice for their brand or a voice for their wine, that's what I hang my hat on. That's what I do, and that's what I offer up. That I feel very proud about, knowing that I have left people satisfied. I
That's so
believe so
important.
much in this that I actually created a short poem. Would you like to
I
hear
would
it?
love to hear it. What is the name of the poem?
Okay, so my original style, going back to the original thing that I do.
Before we hear the poem, we have to have a round of applause. Allie is coming up with a great poem. Come on, we're ready for it. Yay!
Yes, here we go.
Come on, Allie.
All right, so it goes like this. And I can't get no time to find myself, so potential sits in a jar on a high shelf that I can't reach as you preach what I should and should not do. But who are you to keep me restrained? And I can't get no space, no place to spread my wings while the choir sings. I can't get no air to breathe. Can you conceive such a notion? Such an emotion so intense it paralyzes, while hiding behind disguises of that is of action. So, that piece being an example.
Allie, we gotta have another round of applause. I was completely overdone.
At the end of the day, it's all
So-
about satisfying, right? It's about satisfying your client,
That is
satisfying your
so
palate.
awesome.
And so when we look at that, you see how I translated there?
Yes.
I took my original verses and I paired them up with something that was common to you. So there was something you could own.
Yes.
And then I take you someplace else. So it's about building that common ground. So I said, I can't get, and you were there.
I was there.
And then I took you someplace
and I
else.
took you. You took
and
me
I took you right
completely.
back.
Let's do that one more time. Oh, we don't have time. We don't have time. Maybe just do the last part. Just
What's
do the
that?
last part. The last
Oh.
part where you took me.
Oh, take you there, and then, take you right back.
I love that.
Yeah, it's important. It's important.
It's
So-
important. So,
As is
Allie,
wine.
how can people work with you?
Mm-hmm.
What, this is a business for you.
It is, yeah.
And it's a very successful, profitable business.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we help you?
Sure. And I am my product. I am my service. And so basically it's working as a brand ambassador, working with wineries to tell their story, doing a video series. I do photos, videos, and blog posts. I work with those mediums and I give an authentic, real voice to validate different brands. So I work specifically with wineries and I work with everyone else, whether it's fashion, beauty, music, whatever industry it
Wonderful.
is. I can serve as a voice. So if there's if you're wanting to have an outside opinion on
Okay.
your brand to give it some validity and some weight, it's really easy for someone to talk about themselves. Oh, look how fabulous I am. Look at how fabulous my brand is. Well, okay, but it means a lot more if it comes from someone else. Right? You can walk around saying, I'm great, I'm
Absolutely.
great. But if you say, oh, Allie's great, that matters so much more.
Absolutely, that matters so much more.
Right. Outside looking in.
outside looking in. How can people reach you? Well, how could we like call and say, hey, this was fabulous. I want to work with you. What?
My cell number is, no, I'm just kidding.
Very authentic
You are
young lady.
A couple more
Very
glasses, I might have spit it, but I'm not going to. The only spitting I do is poetry. So I can be
Awesome.
found on The Alleyway, thealleyway.org,
Okay.
or go to mywinewords.com. Yeah.
The Alleyway, ALLIE, way, WAY,
Yep.
.org.
Yes.
Or
My
mywinewords.com.
.com.
I love it. So, yeah, and I was looking at your website. It's just very, very well done.
Yeah,
Very-
and I will come in, I can pour wine, I can present, I can do events that way in terms of the wine side of things. And then on the opposite side of the spectrum, it's me just working with brands to tell a story about their product, about their service, and that's what I do.
You do it extremely well.
Merci beaucoup.
Very well, and it has been an absolute pleasure, a very creative, authentic blast in a whole different arena to have you here today. It's just been exceptional, and you're a very impressive young lady.
Thank you.
And
Thank
we
you, Diana.
really appreciate you taking the time to help all of us to be wine snobs now.
Wine non-snobs.
Wine non-snobs. That's right. But now we know how to sip and savor and entertain, and you've definitely educated us today.
Wonderful.
So thank you. Thank
My
you very
pleasure.
much.
Thank
Any
you.
last parting words about the wines that we have here?
Yeah.
Anything at all?
Gypsy Dancer. I have
Dancer?
3 wines I brought with me today.
Okay.
Actually, the one that we tasted and sampled today was Gypsy Dancer.
And that one is this one?
Yep.
Gypsy Dancer.
Yep. So we
right
have,
there.
there we go. Oh, sorry, you've got the camera right there. I'll just do
Gypsy
that.
Dancer.
So there's Gypsy Dancer.
And
And,
that
then we
one
have
is
Allemand.
Allemand.
These two are made by the same woman. They're both made by Rebecca Schuldes.
Very cool.
So, by the way, she works on F-15s during the day. She's a mechanic during the
Don't
day.
even
and then
tell
a
me.
winemaker by night.
I
She is
love
awesome.
that.
She's like my Renaissance sister. I love her.
Completely cool.
And then Nicholas Bazan wine.
Oh, I
All
love
3
him, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful wine.
She sent me a
So-
picture of this last night, so I was all, looking it up, getting all my research done. It was so
These are
cool.
my few
So
favorites.
cool.
If anyone is looking for personal recommendations, look me up. I have some beautiful,
Good.
beautiful brands
Now
that I
you-
can get people their hands on.
Have to give Spicy Business Talk a personal wine recommendation.
Totally will. So, yes,
And then we got to go because we're in trouble.
if what you do here came in the form of a
Spicy.
wine, spicy, it would be a Zinfandel. A red Zinfandel.
red Zin.
Yes, so
A
with some
red
really
Zin.
peppery, or maybe a Syrah or a Shiraz, where it's got like some really super spicy notes.
Hey, you guys, what do you think? We got to get her to make an honorary Spicy Zen. She's got to give us a name. We'll do that later. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Diana Price, and you're listening to Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio, where we have had the best time with Allie Merrick. Make sure you go to her website. And if you need coaching, if you need wine consulting, that's your girl. Get her. And don't waste a moment. We'll see you next week on Diana's Spicy Business Talk Radio. Oh, and don't forget, we are going to be doing a webinar this Friday, so look for more information about packaging your powerful thoughts. Have a great week. Bye-bye.